Happy Friday, degenerate gamblers. Welcome to the Sharp Action Report. This is your UFC 310 edition. I am joined by my guy, Andrew from Super Book Sports, to bring you the notable, sharp, public, large, small action, whatever you want to hear about from across the desk. We can get a peek at the other side of the counter here on this show. Andrew, my man, how you doing today?
Man, it's been a crazy few weeks with everything going on in the NFL world. We had a great game last night. That was a fun
That was
one.
fun.
Lots of action on that game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. I'm hoping I can get over there because it's obviously in Vegas. So I think I'm gonna make an attempt to actually go to this fight card. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, man.
It's
Lots of
going to be a
money.
good one, man. I'd go too if I was there. It's right around the
Yeah.
street there.
Yeah, and the tickets aren't going to be super crazy because there's not like any, you know, too big of names on there. And I feel like the card has a lot of solid fights. So I'm really looking forward to this one, man.
Yeah, I'd rather go to this fight than a John Jones fight. So I'm right there with you, man. Take the cut in the price there and go get some action. I love to see it. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining here on the show. Do us a favor and hit the like button if you please would. Make sure you're supporting my guy Andrew over from Superbook Sports. Give him a follow. He gives awesome info out for the UFC and MMA in general. What we do on this podcast, it's less of a preview and breakdown show. It's more of a numbers and informational type of situation. And we're just going to run through this card here and see what things look like from the sports book's perspective. If you guys don't know, Superbook is one of the best books, if not the best book in Vegas. Been there myself. Tons of space. They like to cater to MMA fans as well. So if you're in Vegas, make sure you go and check that place out. Make sure you say hi to Andrew. Tell him I sent you. First fight of the night. Kennedy Nezuchuku, and he takes on Lukas Brzeski, a fight between heavyweights, very volatile in my opinion. Both guys coming off weird situations. Kennedy coming up from 205, Brzeski getting knocked out in his last fight. Huge favorite, minus 550 on Kennedy. What do you see? Anything notable or interesting here on this fight, man?
Yeah, this one was obviously a late ad. So this one hasn't wrote as much handle as some of the other fights, especially when you have a price tag of $6. We opened Kennedy up at $5.50. It moved to $6. Nothing too notable with the actual fight, but the total has gotten a few bets on the under. Nothing sharp, but that's where most of the money and basically anything with this fight has happened so far.
Okay, all right. I didn't expect too much there on that one. I think it's probably going to be a little difficult to write Brzeski money at this point in the game. Clay Guida and Chase Hooper. We've got the biggest favorite on the card. My guy, Chase the Dream Hooper at 11-1. What's going on here?
Yeah, man. I know we texted a little bit about this one earlier in the week. This is one that I know we talk about the big guy often. He actually came in and laid Chase Hooper early.
Wow.
On this one. We opened this price at $7.50 on Chase Hooper. It's currently sitting $14. So yeah, obviously the price wasn't where we needed it to be at the beginning, and it's kind of been a struggle to write Clay Guida money, honestly. So you don't want to go too crazy because it doesn't take too many big bets at 8-1 on Clay Guida to, where we're starting to sweat Clay Guida big. But as of now, we're going to need Clay Guida pretty big. Along with the money line, he also came in and bet the total as well. So he has under and he bet Chase Hooper. So if you like Chase Hooper inside the distance,
1.5?
then yeah, at 1.5, he got plus 145.
Now that's interesting. Okay. See, I'm kind of thinking a round 2, round 3 type of situation myself. Now, round 1 would not shock me, but I definitely think that that's a little bold going for the early finish on this fight.
Yeah, and quite the strange, the change of strategy for him, where he usually is a big dog better. I mean, he's always searching for a good price on a dog. And the last, few weeks, he's kind of changed it up with some favorites. Last week, he got back on track with one of the big favorites, and then he also had a ton of money on Jake Paul, and now he's laying $7 on Hooper. Yeah, it's a total change in his pattern.
Hey, it took us the whole year to do it, man, but myself and the big guy are finally shifting gears here, figuring out the favorites are the ones winning in 2024. So we'll see if that works out for him or not. Next fight up, Michael Chiesa and Max Griffin. Maybe one of the most interesting number-wise fights on the card. Not the most interesting fight on the card from an entertainment perspective, but Max Griffin opens a favorite, and I see now that the line looks like it is flipped. I
Yep.
was curious all week. I was watching and seeing the money coming in here on Chiesa. Curious if that was going to actually happen or not. So talk me through this one, man, because I'm a little tempted to stand in front of the market on this fight. I think Max Griffin is the side. I thought the opening line was a little bit closer to normal. I think Chiesa's headed for the desk and he's going to put his best tie and shirt on. I don't know that he's fighting the same way, whereas Max still wants it out there. So lots of love on the dog, causing this line to flip sides. I would love your thought process and what you've got over there as far as betting info goes.
Yeah, this is a crazy one. I'm kind of with you. I know we talked a couple weeks ago about the Damon Jackson fight where there's just a few fights that the line movement doesn't quite like make sense. Um, you know, we have rode a ton of handle on Chiesa, so I'm not going to say that money's not there, and that would be a lie. So the money has came in on Chiesa. We opened up Max Griffin at minus 160. Now he's a small underdog at minus 105. So Chiesa is the front runner. He's minus 115. We did have some early sharper action on Chiesa, not from a customer who's predominantly into betting UFC. So yeah, it was something to keep our eye on. But right now we need Max Griffin pretty big. I'm hoping you're right, and I kind of see it too. I don't really understand the Chiesa love. Maybe we were a little bit off, and the line should have been closer to a pick. But yeah, I'm pretty surprised to see how much people have came in and bet Chiesa this week.
Yeah, pretty intriguing when a line is hit hard enough to flip it from dog to favorite. That usually is a decent sized indicator there. And maybe minus 160 was a little bit bold, man, but I still think that Max Griffin deserves to be the favorite in this matchup. So I'm kind of there with you, and I am now tempted to pull the trigger. I've been watching this line move basically all week. Didn't want to lay the minus on Max, but give me the plus. Different story. I might have to take a little dip here. Cody Durden and Joshua Van going from one of the most interesting line-wise to one of the most interesting story-wise. I love this fight. I can't wait to watch this fight. This is going to be an absolute banger. Tell me what's going on here. The line has moved a little bit, at least it looks like, but curious what the sharps and or public are on for this one.
Honestly, this is just a good one for us to book right around the price where we opened it. We opened it at 160. It shot down a little bit because there was some money coming in on Durden, and then the price started going back up. There was a little bit of money on Van. So this one really hasn't had too much sharp action shifting the line. Like I said, we're sitting 10 cents within where this thing opened, and it's been a pretty easy one to book because there's some strong opinions on both sides. Yeah. So I know John likes the Durden side. I know he kind of has gone back to that well a few times. Durden's one of his guys. I know Durden and you have some history as well.
He's not one of my guys.
No, I know. But yeah, John was saying he likes that side. Right now we need him pretty small, but yeah, that's what we're looking at over here.
Okay, so the book needs Durden, and John, you know, the book likes Durden a little bit here in this spot. Good to know. I am... Man, I almost pulled the trigger on Van like 2 or 3 times this entire week. The number's kind of getting a little bit away from me, but it does feel like he's a little bit of the public side to me here on this one, which that doesn't mean anything. The public's been smashing in the NFL, and favorites have been winning all year basically in 2024, so it doesn't mean a lot. But I also think there's a very good chance Durden wins round 1, and I kind of want to see Van go through that fire before I jump in and see what it looks like, and the number's probably better after round 1 anyway, unless he lands something big, and Van's not really a fast starter, so I'm not sure what I'm doing here on this one, man. I like the Van side, but I don't know if I'm betting it now going into Saturday. We'll see what I end up doing here. I've got some time to decide. We got to watch the weigh-ins and all that stuff.
To speak on that a little more, what you were saying about the sharp customers and the public, it is funny because this year I went through some of our strongest customers in the database this last week, and a lot of the sharp customers are having a really tough year on UFC. It's only like a couple guys that are having a really, really good year, it makes our job a lot tougher because you have to kind of weed through the good bets from these sharp guys and stuff. But yeah, it has been a tough year for a lot of these sharp guys betting the UFC, and that happens. It's betting. Not everything is, fixed like, some people think.
Yeah, especially when it comes to fighting, man. Especially when it comes to fighting. All right. Chris Weidman and Eric Anders, talk to me about this one. I'm curious to know if there's been anything sharp coming in on this one.
Yeah, obviously we had this one up a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That was an interesting line move where Anders was a much bigger favorite to open the first fight, and now this one we opened it knowing kind of where that line went from the movement from the last fight. So now we open this thing a pick. It's still sitting a pick. There has been strong action on both sides of this fight as well. So I know me and you kind of talked about it the last card, and
yeah,
I'm kind of still thinking I like the Anders side, but there has been a lot of Weidman love, man. So this should be a fun one. We also got some pretty big respected bets on the over in this fight.
I don't mind the over. I worry about Weidman's chin breaking down a little bit, but Anders is also getting towards the end of his run, and he's never really been a power threat. So I do not mind the look on the over. And yeah, man, it's this one's tough because I did like Anders the last time we talked about it. It's been a little sobering, though, kind of going back and rerunning the tape and watching him struggle to take down Pickett when you know he's going to take on Chris Weidman, who's a whole lot more of a handful when it comes to the wrestling department. So it kind of comes down to how shot is Weidman versus how much better is Anders when he's off the sauce. I don't know, man. It's going to be an intriguing fight. And I'm kind of getting cold feet betting this one too, because I really thought I was going to jump in on Anders, especially, when the books open Anders a decent favorite. They take all that Weidman money. We get cheated, the gamblers, every single time we get cheated when that happens, because you guys opened it closer to pick them this next time, and all that plus money for the people that were scooping it up last time. It's just not there anymore. So I kind of thought if the line continued to push, and similar to the Griffin situation, if I can get a plus next to Eric Anders' name, maybe I jump in at that point. But it's kind of sticking here at this minus 105, minus 110 type of spot.
Yeah, you got the coin flip fight here. It doesn't look like it's going to move too far off of this line for sure.
Yeah. If it was gonna, I think it would have already. So I'm just deciding if I want to flip a coin or not. We'll see. All right, guys. Next fight on the list here, Randy Brown taking on Bryan Battle. Interesting note on this one. That number for Battle has been coming down pretty much all week, and he missed weight this morning. This is not the Undefeated Post-Weigh-In Show. I will break out the tinfoil cap for you guys here in a couple of hours after the official ceremonial face-offs and weigh-ins for these fights. But Bryan Battle has missed by 4 pounds, and he looked like death on the scale doing it. So interesting to note here going into this fight. What do you think, Andrew? What do you see?
Yeah, man, this is a weird one because early in the week, or a few weeks ago when we opened it, it was at 240 on Battle. It did get some big-time action on Randy Brown, and you saw the price drop pretty quick. It got down to as low as 170, 180 range on Battle. And one of our really sharp customers came in and bet Battle at minus 180. Obviously, that was days before the weight miss. And now, the price got back up to 240, and now it's starting to crash again after the weight miss. So I'm not really sure what to make of this fight. We've done a good job positioning ourselves to need Bryan Battle. Obviously, the weight miss kind of throws a wrench into your plans because you don't know how that's going to, if he's hurt or what goes into that. I'm still hoping he gets the victory here, and as of now, so is the book. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I see in the chat, my guy Dream, there's a lot of people back in the Rude Boy, and you said you guys are positioning yourselves to need Bryan Battle. I think the price is an example of that, man. I was shocked. When this number came out, I just went, it's like, that smelled like a trap to me, man. You guys are putting up a plus 200 on Rude Boy. That screams wrong to me, and I kind of felt like that's maybe what you guys were looking to do, is make sure you had a solid position here on Battle. That's something the book doesn't always do, but you got to be prepared for it when it kind of pops up.
Yeah, that sharp money, when that number dropped to like that 180-ish range, there was an influx of like sharp money on that battle side. So it's hard to tell now that with that weight miss, because now maybe the price goes down back to that 180 mark, and we kind of positioned ourselves the wrong way. But you never know with the weight misses; it's so tough to predict.
Yep. High stakes roulette going on over here with these guys stepping on the scale and then punching each other in the mouth. Next fight, one that I am extremely interested in. Can't wait to hear what you've got to say. Movsar Evloev taking on Aljamain Sterling. Two former 135ers both competing here now at 145 pounds. One former champion, one undefeated prospect. This has all the makings of just an epic battle, man. What do you see over there on the book side of things?
Yeah, this is a fun one. Movsar opened at minus 220, so you can see that it's steamed up a little bit. We did get some sharp action earlier on Movsar, but honestly, it's that sharp action still right around the price it's at right now. So, yeah, there's some Sterling love too. Currently, we do need Sterling, but yeah, we haven't really done anything crazy with this fight. The sharp action early on Movsar. We'd like to position ourselves to need that. It's not always the easiest to do that with a minus 250 guy who's, like, obviously we talked about thrown into a billion parlays. So, yeah, we're going to end up needing one of these $2 to $3 dogs to come through, and hopefully Sterling can be one of them. That would be a big one for us.
Okay. All right. Lots of action, sharp action on the Movsar side. The book needs Aljo in this spot. And my guy Dream pointing out in the chat, it does look like some numbers have moved around a little bit this morning. Aljo up a good 40 cents today. So Movsar, I noticed yesterday, dipped down a little bit, and now that number is moving back up market wide. So a little bit of a battle going on at the minus 225 to minus 250 range here for Movsar Evloev. Vicente Luque and Temba Gorimbo, man. Oh, so my early read on this one is that I thought Vicente Luque maybe would be kind of an easy dog click, and it seems like the entire market has the same opinion, man. This is starting to feel like a very public dog to me, and it's kind of giving me a little bit of cold feet on this spot. You've got Temba Gorimbo sitting around the minus 150 range, plus 125 or so on Vicente Luque. What do you see here, and what do you like?
I would say this is to me, the most interesting fight from a booking perspective on the card so far. Gorimbo opened up at minus 230. Clearly, that price was not the right price with all the love on Vicente Luque this week. We're now sitting down at minus 140 on Gorimbo over here because we're trying to get a couple bets to come through on that Gorimbo side. I know on the market you can still probably see around 50-ish to 60-ish. Yeah, so this is an interesting one because early on we did get a big respected bet from one of our winning UFC customers on Vicente Luque. The price started shooting down, and then one of our other respected bettors came in on Gorimbo. The price started going back up, but then that first customer bet Luque a second time. So he doubled down. That makes us a little nervous. We want to write some Gorimbo money. We currently need Gorimbo pretty big. I personally like Gorimbo. I don't know. Last Luque fight left a sour taste in my mouth. So I'm not looking to go crazy where we're going to need Luque big here. But yeah, we definitely need to do some work to shift our positioning a little bit with one of our sharpest customers betting Luque twice.
Okay, so there's a sharp battle going on here on this one, guys. Sharp came in on Luque. The number moved. Another sharp on the other side on Gorimbo. It moved back, and that original sharp doubled down on Vicente Luque. I've been back and forth on this fight all week, man. I thought Luque early on, and then I kind of talked myself into Gorimbo because of that recent form. I know it's a big skill gap. I know it's a big step up for Gorimbo, but Vicente Luque just kind of folding over the way he did in his last fight has me feeling real queasy about putting any money on him, especially with the brain bleed situation, that kind of stuff. It's in his head. He's been on record talking about how he doesn't want to get hurt. And especially when he did get hit by Buckley, if you go back and you watch that fight, when he folded up, he's got his arms like this, like he's doing everything he can to protect his head. Now, Temba, not the most dangerous striker in the world. He's got power, obviously, but I don't know if he's going to be able to touch Luque to make him uncomfortable in that manner. So it's a weird one, dude. This fight has all kinds of little intricate pieces to it. So Not sure what I'm going to do. I'm kind of chickening out on both sides of it at this point.
What one more thing on this one too, I forgot to say it. We did get a big sharp bet on the under,
Okay.
which I obviously am reminded because, like you were saying about Vicente Luque's recent form, a couple of the fights, it looked like, not that he wanted out, but he was very protective of himself, and he kind of, like you said, folded over. So, yeah, maybe that's a sharp play at plus 160 on the under. Obviously, the line moves when it's a sharp bet like that, but yeah, sharp money on the under in this fight too.
Yeah, fight doesn't go the distance at like plus 110 has my attention here, just because if Temba is not on the level of Luque just hacks and slashes those guys. He's gonna finish him if he's not on the level. And then similarly, if Temba's able to pass this test, I can see Luque kind of protecting himself and maybe shelling up and taking an easy opportunity out as well. Not to mention, Temba's just dangerous when it comes to his power in the first place. He could straight up finish him. So I do think under and violence maybe makes some sense in that fight if you don't want to pick a side. Again, still very much dissecting. This card is very complicated, you guys. It's a bummer. We've got such good lines, such bettable lines, but they're bettable because there's a lot going on. So it's very complicated. Be careful this week and stick to your gut. If you've got something you like, you take that swing and don't let anybody talk you off of it. Next up, Dom Reyes takes on Anthony Smith. Reyes, one of the bigger favorites here on the card. What do you like here, Andrew?
Yeah, this one hasn't been going from the Garimbo fight. This one hasn't been one of the more exciting ones to book. We did have a lot of parlay money tied into Dominic Reyes from last week. So we kind of started off in a hole on Dominic Reyes with some of the favorites from last week. So we've been trying to ride some Anthony Smith money. There's been some small bites, nothing overly respected so far on this fight. But there has been a decent amount of movement. We opened this thing around $3 on Reyes. We're sitting all the way up at $3.70 now. So if you do like the dog, you're getting over 3-1. And Anthony Smith has he's been a good dog for the book in the past. So this will be one we do end up needing, similar to like that Sterling range, somewhere from that plus 200 to plus 300 range. We're going to need one of those big time for sure.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Good to know. We're still hunting for a big dog to crack some of these parlays. Maybe Smith is that guy. Nate Landwehr, Choi. Another very competitive line on this one. Another very interesting fight. I kind of feel like this is the tactician versus the brawler spot on the card. What do you make of this fight, man? Where's the money going?
Yeah. So this is a fun one. I mean, obviously I'm a big Nate the Train fan. There's so many fun fights on this card, dude. Like
it's
I'm
a good one.
I'm so happy that the tickets aren't super expensive because, like, the big name value is not there, but the fights are awesome. This is a great fight too.
This is a hardcore delight kind of card, man. This isn't for the casuals that just got into it a couple years ago. This is for us.
Yeah, Dana knows this one's gonna end the year with some great fights. I have a feeling there's gonna be some.
And we got the old gloves. There's gonna be some finishes. This could be a good
card. I'm with you. So we opened up Nate the Train at 165. The sharp action has been coming in on the other side on Choi. We're currently sitting minus 135 on Nate. So the price has moved a lot. We currently do need the favorite. We're looking to, finagle a little bit and kind of balance this thing out. I still would like to need Nate for a little bit. It wasn't a massive bet by this customer on the dog, this sharp customer. But it's definitely something we still got to keep our eye on. Another sharp bet on this fight was on the under 2.5 minus 130. So
I like that.
Sharp action on Choi and the under in this fight.
Okay. I like that, man. I really do. I just don't see either of these guys surviving because if Landwehr wants to try and be technical with Choi, it's not going to go well for him. And then if Landwehr can get this fight into a brawl, we've seen that break Choi in the past before. So either way, I think one of these guys is capable of finishing. I do like the under look in this fight. I'm still trying to decide. I kind of lean more towards Landwehr turning this thing into a brawl and getting Choi out there a little bit loose. But I respect the sharp action going the other way. Haven't made a move just yet. All right, guys, we've got over 560 live viewers. Thank you all for tuning in today. Make sure you hit the like button. This is the Sharp Action Report for UFC 310. I'm joined by my guy, Andrew from Super Sportbook Sports. Make sure you show him some love over there on the Twitter machine. And let's get into these last couple of fights. Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell and Kron Gracie. What an absolute shit show of a fight, my guy. Two flat earthers locked in the cage with each other, and neither of them all that good at fighting. It's going to be weird, right? You've got Bryce that wants to go out and wrestle. He's been training in a barn. And then you've got Kron Gracie, who we haven't seen since he butt scooted all over the octagon like my puppy rubbing his ass on the floor. I don't know what to make of this fight, but I know I don't want to lay 10-1 on Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, no kidding. So I think when we reference the big guy, this might have been the start of the demise of him, is when I remember he bet on Kron Gracie, and I had a decent sized wager, and just watching him butt scoot around the ring was not too pleasing.
Not great.
But yeah, we were clearly a little off with this price. We opened up Bryce Mitchell at $5.50. It's currently sitting $10, like you said. So if you have any hope in Kron Gracie, I mean, at some point, I have a feeling we're going to get a big bet on that side. As of now, we don't have that. All the money has came in on Mitchell, and we're going to
come in as they're walking out. Like 2 minutes before the fight happens, one of the Gracies is going to run in with a big old duffel bag full of cash. And
I'm not kidding when I tell you, there's a lot of our sharpest customers are betting as these guys are walking straight up to the ring, which makes it super tough from a booking perspective, because it's hard to write back money within the last, 5 minutes before the fight. But yeah, this price has moved so much that you would kind of expect at some point somebody's going to have to take a big shot on Kron Gracie, but it hasn't been there yet.
I'm not going to lie, man. I'm looking at this Kron Gracie by submission prop because he's a literal Gracie, and you're getting 12-1, and he's taking on a wrestler, a guy who's only going to look to grapple with him. Like, how do you not? Like, how do you not just sprinkle that? Because he's going to put himself in the spot where Kron can take advantage of it, and he wants to look for a neck. Why wouldn't you take a sprinkle when it's over 10-1?
I mean, unless you feel like confident that Bryce, you can find a method of victory or something with Bryce Mitchell, or you're a big parlay better, I don't really see how the price of Mitchell is bettable at this point. But yeah, it's tough when we get these kind of prices, because it almost feels like you have to bet one side if you're going to bet it.
Yeah, you kind of get put in a box in these ones, and it's tough because they, in MMA, there's not that many 10-1 favorites that lose. Next up, Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov. The big boys are running it back. Yet another large favorite in Cyril Gane, minus 375. Man, I cannot help but feel like this fight goes differently than the first one does. Cyril Gane's been off making movies this whole time, whereas opponent Alexander Volkov has put together a 4-fight win streak. He's been extremely active. I still also think Cyril Gane probably has the athletic ability that Volkov just has lacked his entire life, and that will be the difference maker in this fight. But I think he's going to put up a better showing than plus 300. What do you got going on here, man?
Yeah, this is one all week we've done our best to position ourselves to meet Cyril Gane. I'm not the biggest Cyril Gane fan, but the respected money on this fight was pretty heavy early on Gane. So we've done our best to position ourselves to need that side. We opened Cyril Gane up at minus 250. Right then, we took big sharp action on that side. We moved it pretty aggressively, and I'm not going to lie, it's been pretty easy to get some money back. And at this point, I can say that we need Gane, so that's a plus for the book, and we're looking to need him for a win before the card starts tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So they're looking for Cyril Gane. And honestly, man, this is another one where I am looking to maybe like buck the trend and go under here. I know Gane is a decision machine throughout the majority of his career, but even at like even at the press conference yesterday, you've got Volkov talking about how he doesn't hit hard and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I feel like we're going to get maybe a different version of this fight where both guys are more aggressive and not looking to keep it on the cards. And Volkov might, get a little bit desperate trying to get the finish rather than sitting back the way he did. And if you come forward on Gane, he can find the kill shot. So I think the under 2.5 at plus 250 is an interesting look here.
I like it. Yeah, I can't get the image out of my mind of the last fight when he fought a Pavlovich. and they kept combing his hair between the rounds.
Ah.
That was the funniest thing. I don't know why it's like just stuck in my head.
I
Volkov is
love
awesome.
Aura Volkov, man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Aura Volkov is the best.
Yeah, he is awesome. It should
It's
be a
good
good fight too. So yeah.
It should be. It should be. And it should be more entertaining than the last one, too. Hopefully we get a finish. That'd be fun. Co-main event, everybody. Shavkat Rakhmonov takes on Ian Machado. Garry, this number has wiggled just a little bit throughout the week, but for the majority, seems to have settled in about where it's been sitting basically all week. We've got two guys who are undefeated, taking the biggest challenge of their respective careers against one another. Cannot wait for this number one contenders matchup. What do you like here, man, and what are you seeing across the desk?
Man, this is a fun one. Obviously, you got two undefeated prospects, so this is an exciting one. We opened this one $3 on Rakhmonov. Early in the week, there was a lot of love on that Rakhmonov side, and it shot up over $4. We got as high as $4.20 on this fight. At that point, we started getting some bigger bets on Ian Garry. So that price kind of shifted back down. We're sitting $3.70 now. And actually, as of now, we do need Shavkat. I know tomorrow it's not going to look that way with all the public money coming in on the parlays and a lot of the chalkier fighters. So I know that's not where we're going to need tomorrow, but I feel like we've done a great job kind of positioning ourselves to take some Ian Garry money early. Even though we'll probably end up needing Ian Garry, it's nice to get a couple dog bets early before the influx of favorite money. So yeah, I won't be shocked when we need Garry tomorrow, but as of now, we need Shavkat.
Okay, I mean, what a wild situation to be in where you guys have managed to need Shavkat Rakhmonov. Got some of my money in there. I did take the plunge on Ian Garry. I think this is one of those lines that's a little bit too wide. How are you going to be feeling if you do end up needing Ian Garry come tomorrow?
I mean, it's kind of similar to what I was saying before. It's gonna we got to get a couple of these, $2 to $3 dogs. One of them, just give us one of them. And I do feel like Ian Garry has a shot. I mean, he's as tough as they come in this division. So I mean, this fight is really it's going to be a special one. Both of these guys, I wouldn't be shocked either way. If Shavkat's got a submission, wouldn't shock me. But I didn't mention this as well. We did get a big, sharp bet on the fight to go the distance. So that was interesting. That obviously moved very aggressively. I guess there's a lot of love on that because that thing opened at 5-1 on fight to go the distance, and now it's sitting around 3-1. So that thing has moved a lot.
Yeah, it has. I've got the over 2.5 myself, so I'm seeing fight goes the distance all the way down at plus 165 in places out there.
Or maybe I had it at 3-1 and it got down to 160 something.
Yeah. I was gonna say if someone had 5-1, I'd be all over it. I wish I could have that number.
Yeah, but that one's been a popular bet this week for sure. Fight to go the distance and over on that fight.
Yeah, I think if Ian Garry is able to, kind of create and manage the space, then he'll drag this fight a little bit deeper than some of Shavkat's previous opponents. And if he doesn't get finished, I think he's going to be probably very live to win a decision if this thing gets towards the end of the fight. So I think Garry's live. Scares me a little bit that you guys are positioned to need Shavkat Rakhmonov. I thought Ian Garry was going to be a little bit more of a sharp / unpopular opinion this week, but it seems like a couple other people are thinking the same way I am, and that scares me. It always does.
Yeah. Hey,
all right.
But by tomorrow, we're going to be rooting for the same side as you. I mean, there's no way we're not going to get an influx of Shavkat money tomorrow. So we'll be rooting for the same thing by the end of the day tomorrow.
All right. Glad to hear we'll be on Team Clint here to go to decision with Ian Garry by the end of the day tomorrow. Main event, you guys. We've got Alexandre Pantoja welcoming Kai Asakura to the UFC. A very interesting battle here. Alexandre Pantoja really kind of making a name for himself as the GOAT of this weight class, defending titles and clearing out his division to the point the UFC has to bring in people from Japan to fight him. We've got him sitting about -250. You can get the underdog in the range of +210. Total sitting at 2.5. Talk to me, Andrew. What has the sharp action been like on the main event?
Yeah, man, this is an interesting one because I'm not sure everyone has a read on the UFC newcomer. So this line really hasn't moved too much from where we opened it. We opened it at 240, it's sitting right around the same number. I think we're at 250 now. We did take some early Pantoja money. The line kind of shot up to around that 260 range, but within the last couple of days, we have been getting some money coming in on the dog. So as of now, this is similar to that Shavkat fight. We do need Pantoja as of now. I know that's not going to be how it is tomorrow, but it's like I said, it's nice to get these dog bets early, even if they're from bigger bettors or respected bettors, because we know that favorite money's going to come in, especially at this minus 250 to 350 range. That's just kind of how these UFC pay-per-view cards go. We're not going to win unless there's a couple dogs that come through. So we're going to end up needing the dog in the main event, but as of now, we need Pantoja.
Okay. As of now, they're needing the favorites in the main and the co-main event. What could possibly go wrong? Glad you guys are in a good position so far leading into this fight, and it'll be interesting to see if you swing to needing one of these underdogs in the main or co-main to come through. Very, very dangerous fights for the favorites in both of these spots here, in my opinion. Thank you so much for the information, man. Thank you for joining us today and talking us through these awesome fights this weekend here at UFC 310. If you have anything to promote, if you have any deals or things for the people to know about over there at the Superbook, please, the floor is yours, my guy. Go ahead and let the people know what they need to know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Vegas, stop down by the book. We're really trying to entice some customers to come bet around here and get some decent sized wagers. I mean, our VIG is competitive with the best of them. Our NFL lines are 108, 108. So if you're into the NFL, I mean, the most important thing in betting is getting a good price, because that's what matters in the long term. So yeah, if you're down here, come say hi, watch the fights. I'll be around. Hopefully I can go to the fights this week. I'd love John to get me a ticket, but yeah, looking forward to the fights. Love
pull some strings, John. Come on.
I mean, dude, I've been here for 5 years. Like, what are we doing, man? He's gonna be going. He has tickets. So I mean, hopefully
you should be in the suite next to him, man. That's just how it should be.
I know. I'm working on it, Clint.
One of these days.
Thanks for having me, Clint. I appreciate you having me on.
Always, man. Always fun to talk fights with you. Thank you so much for the information, the transparency. It's good for the relationship between book and gamblers. Thank you guys all for tuning in, all 700 of you. Go have a wonderful, happy Friday, you guys. Make sure to come back around these parts, because after the ceremonial face-offs and weigh-ins, we will be doing the undefeated post-weigh-in show, where I will wrap everything into a nice, tight little package and put a little bow on it for Christmas for you, so that you can make the best bets you possibly can at UFC 310. Thank you guys very much. We'll talk to you soon, and let's roll.